Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're enjoying these immersive tales, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, where are you tuning in from and what time is it for you right now? The year is 2638. You wake up in the middle of a collapsed corridor, deep within the ancient, war-scarred Chateau de Chenonceau. You feel the cold, rough-hewn stone pressing against your cheek, a chilling kiss that jolts you awake. The air is heavy, a damp, metallic tang of stale dust and decaying plaster filling your lungs. There's a persistent, distant drip, 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 echoing somewhere beneath you, like a broken clock counting down to an unknown hour. Your muscles scream in protest as you push yourself up, every fiber of your being protesting the sudden movement. The familiar, comforting weight of your armor settles around you, a second skin, heavy and protective. You scan the immediate darkness, your heightened senses immediately sifting through the debris. Above, faint slivers of light cut through gaps in the ruined ceiling, illuminating motes of dust, dancing in the air like lost spirits. Faded, crumbling frescoes hint at a forgotten grandeur, now reduced to a skeletal reminder of what this place once was. This grand hall, once a testament to human artistry and power, is now just another battlefield, another shelter. A familiar pulse of adrenaline thrums through your veins, not panic, just readiness. It's a constant companion, a low hum of alert that has become as natural as breathing. You reach for the weapon at your hip, your fingers tracing its cold, familiar grip. It offers a strange comfort, a silent promise in the endless uncertainty. You take a slow, deep breath, tasting the dust, and push yourself to your feet. Each heavy bootfall is deliberate, a soft thud on the loose debris and broken flagstones that carpet the corridor. The floor here slopes gently downwards, leading you into an unseen darkness. You move with practiced caution, your eyes constantly sweeping for any shift in shadow, any unnatural gleam. A low, scuttling sound echoes from deeper within the gloom, and your head snaps, your gaze locking onto the source. Nothing. Just the wind, perhaps, or something far worse. You can almost feel the history of this place, the centuries of life and struggle that have permeated these stones, now intertwined with your own brutal fight for survival. The echoes of conflict are everywhere, in the silence, in the scent of decay, in the way the ancient walls lean inwards, as if themselves weary from war. You spot a glint in the corner of your eye, a discarded, empty ration pack from another survivor, long gone. It's a silent, fleeting acknowledgement of a shared, relentless struggle. The quiet here is a tension, a constant reminder that true safety is a luxury you cannot afford. You move forward, one more step into the unknown. It's strange how the body simply keeps going, isn't it? Even when the mind aches for rest, when every instinct screams for peace, you find yourself pushing on, one breath at a time. A sudden draft snakes around your ankles, chilling the exposed skin above your heavy boots. It carries with it the faint, cloying scent of something ancient and floral, mixed with the ever-present metallic tang of decay. You push through a sagging, warped doorway, the wood groaning in protest like a forgotten beast. Immediately, the corridor ahead twists unexpectedly, leading into a series of smaller, identical passages that branch off into a bewildering maze. This isn't the open, debris-strewn path from before. Here, the silence is deeper, thicker, punctuated only by the soft scrape of your armor against the crumbling walls as you brush past. It's an oppressive quiet, a suffocating blanket that seems to absorb all sound, even your own breathing. Your internal compass, usually infallible, feels scrambled. Every turn looks the same. Every archway mirrors the last. You feel a subtle disorientation creeping in, a dizzying sense of sameness in the fading light filtering from unseen breaks in the distant ceiling. You reach out, your gloved hand brushing against a cold moss-covered tapestry, still clinging precariously to the stone. It crumbles to dust at your touch, a final, silent surrender. You pause, closing your eyes for a split second, trying to recalibrate. Your senses are on high alert, but there's nothing overtly hostile, just the unsettling stillness. Is it too quiet? The absence of sound is almost a sound in itself. A low hum of unease that vibrates behind your ears. You can feel your own heartbeat. A steady drum against the silence. A stark contrast to the distant, chaotic echoes of war that usually fill your world. You try to find a pattern, a logical flow in the architecture. But these chambers, once elegant, now feel designed to confuse, a labyrinth of forgotten purpose. You choose a passage, your footsteps echoing strangely, the sound seeming to come from multiple directions at once, playing tricks on your ears. You stop, head cocked, listening. Nothing but the persistent drip, 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 now closer, but still elusive, leading you nowhere specific. Your hand tightens on your weapon, not because of a perceived threat, but from the sheer frustration of being lost in a place that offers no clear enemy, no direct path. It's a different kind of battle, this one, fought against space and silence. You push on, driven by instinct more than sight, turning another corner. Suddenly, the corridor opens into a vast, circular chamber. Light pours in from high arched windows, illuminating dust motes in golden shafts. But the floor is gone in the center, a gaping maw revealing churning, dark water far below, reflecting the shattered sky. You stand at the very edge of a precipice, the sheer drop unexpected, almost catching you off balance. Your reflection stares back from the dark water, a silent, armored figure framed by ancient ruin. You are so focused on the internal, on the silence, that the physical world almost betrayed you. It's strange how, even when there's no visible enemy, the world itself can become the biggest challenge, testing not just your strength, but the very core of your perception. The metallic taste of grit fills your mouth, sharp and persistent, a stark reminder of the dust-choked air you breathe. You quickly pull back from the gaping maw, your heavy boots scuffing against the crumbling edge of the circular chamber. The churning water far below seems to call out, a dark, hungry void. Your gaze sweeps the perimeter, searching for an alternative path, a bridge, anything but that dizzying plunge. You spot a heavily damaged archway, partially obscured by collapsed masonry, leading off to your right. It's a precarious scramble, but the only option. Carefully, you maneuver over the debris, your fingers finding purchase on jagged stones, the rough texture a familiar friend against your armored gloves. You drop lightly into what appears to be a gallery, its once magnificent vaulted ceiling now a mosaic of exposed beams and sky. Here, the air is subtly different, carrying the faint, sweet scent of decay mixed with something vaguely floral, a ghost of old perfumes clinging to the ancient stone. Your eyes adjust, sweeping over the scene. Faded tapestries, once vibrant with scenes of hunting and feasting, cling in tattered strips to the upper walls, their colors muted to mere whispers. The floor, though littered with shattered glass and splintered wood, still hints at the intricate patterns of a forgotten era. Broken statues of forgotten figures lie in pieces, their marble eyes staring blankly at a world they no longer understand. You walk between the ghostly remnants of elegance, your heavy armor a jarring contrast to the delicate ruins. You pause by a shattered display case, its contents long gone. Only a single, intricately carved wooden fragment remains, still bearing the faint shine of varnish. You pick it up, its smooth coolness, a strange sensation against your palm. You turn it over, noticing the delicate craftsmanship, a stark reminder of the lives lived here before the chaos. This silent citadel, once bustling with life and artistry, now holds only echoes, a silent testament to a grandeur you can barely comprehend. The light filtering through the high, broken windows casts long, lazy shadows, painting the dust-filled air in shifting shades of gold and gray. A gentle breeze sighs through a missing window pane, carrying a faint, melodic whistle that sounds almost like a mournful song. It's a sound that holds no threat, only a profound sense of emptiness. You listen for a moment, letting the unfamiliar quiet wash over you, a different kind of silence than the oppressive stillness of the maze. This is a quiet of lingering presence, a vast quiet that speaks of lost time, not just absence. You can almost feel the weight of centuries, the stories etched into every crumbling column. It's a fleeting moment of connection to a world irrevocably lost, before the next sound, the next threat, inevitably pulls you back to the brutal now. It's a strange thing, isn't it? To find yourself among the ghosts of beauty, a soldier in a world that has forgotten grace, yet still finding a fragment of its whisper in the silence. A low, grinding rumble vibrates through the flagstones beneath your feet. It's a different kind of sound than the distant drip. Deeper, more guttural, a hungry groan from the very foundations of the castle itself. You instinctively brace, eyes darting, tracing the lines of the remaining walls in this vast gallery. The sound resonates with the structure, a deep tremor that speaks of immense pressure and age, like a giant sighing under an impossible weight. The air, thick with the subtle scent of damp stone, shimmers with the vibrations. You move with renewed purpose, no longer just wandering, but actively scouting, your gaze dissecting the space. Each archway, every fallen beam, every shadowed alcove, becomes a crucial data point. You register the crumbling staircase leading downwards, its once ornate balustrade twisted like melted wire, its steps choked with debris. Too risky. Instead, you identify the sturdier sections of wall, noting potential cover points, calculating optimal sightlines for an ambush, or mapping out routes for a swift retreat. The high, broken windows, while letting in glorious golden light, are also glaring vulnerabilities, open eyes into the exposed landscape beyond. You mentally log the sheer drop to the river that flows under the castle, a natural moat, a formidable barrier, but also a potential covert path for unseen enemies, or even for you. Your combat training kicks in, overlaying a tactical grid onto the ancient, unpredictable architecture. Where would a flank come from in this labyrinth? What's the optimal field of fire from that shattered balcony? This isn't some urban sprawl or industrial complex you're used to. Here, raw stone and time are your primary obstacles. The sprawling scale of the building is inherently disorienting, its endless, twisting corridors and forgotten passages a tactical nightmare. You try to commit each turn, each rise and fall of the floor to memory, sketching a crude, evolving map in your mind. The air shifts again, a colder, fresher scent now, carrying the earthy tang of river water, mingled with a hint of green, suggesting vegetation outside, a wild world beyond the stone. You reach out, your gloved hand pressing against the cool, damp stone of a massive supporting pillar, feeling its unwavering stability, its deep-rooted age. No digital readouts here, no comms linked to relay intel. Just your sharp eyes, your acute ears, the touch of your fingertips, and the memory of every previous encounter. You spot a narrow ledge, barely wide enough for your heavy boots, running precariously along an upper level of the gallery. A daunting prospect, but a possible high ground advantage, or a perilous escape route. The challenge isn't just the visceral act of surviving, it's the mental effort of understanding, of predicting movement, of making this alien, crumbling environment into something navigable, something you can control, even a tiny piece of it. Each creak of settling stone, each gust of wind whistling through a broken arch, is analyzed, categorized, stored. You are a human sensor array, a walking data processor in a fortress that guards its secrets with unwavering silence. It's strange, the relentless way your brain adapts, constantly striving to create order from the overwhelming chaos. Even when there's no physical map, no clear instructions, you find yourself tirelessly building a comprehensive mental blueprint, piece by crumbling piece. It's not just a skill, it's the only way to not just exist, but to continue the fight, one step at a time. The sharp, hollow click of your weapon's magazine echoes in the vast, crumbling gallery, a sound that punches harder than any enemy blast. You instinctively try to fire again, but the trigger pull is loose, useless. Your fingers, calloused from countless battles, instantly recognize the brutal reality. It's empty. You slam the button, the mag dropping to the stone floor with a clatter, a tinny, desperate sound against the silence. There's a subtle tremor in your hand as you instinctively reach for a fresh one, only to find the pouch lighter than it should be. 2 more. Just 2. The cold, metallic weight feels inadequate, almost a cruel joke. Just then, a deep, resonant growl rumbles from deep within your own gut, a primal sound that completely eclipses the external threat. It's a familiar, gnawing ache that has steadily intensified over the last few hours, a persistent, insistent reminder of a more fundamental, inescapable battle. Your stomach cramps, a sharp, sudden pang that momentarily steals your focus from the dwindling ammo. It's a physical plea, a demand for fuel that your combat-hardened body can no longer ignore. You lean against a crumbling wall, feeling the damp, rough stone through your armor. Your gaze sweeps the cavernous hall, not for enemy movement this time, but for anything at all that might offer sustenance. The opulent remnants of what was once a grand dining hall now feel like a cruel mockery. Splintered tables, overturned chairs, and scattered, non-identifiable detritus offer no comfort, no hope. There's a lingering, faint smell of rot, not metallic, but organic, a grim reminder of the passage of time and the absence of life. You pull out the last energy bar from your emergency pouch. Its packaging is worn, its contents likely stale, but it's a promise of momentary relief. You tear it open, the crinkle of the wrapper sounding incredibly loud in the silence. The taste is bland, chalky, barely registerable through the dust in your mouth, but you chew methodically, forcing it down. It's not about enjoyment. It's about function, about keeping the machine running. You can feel the slight tremor in your hands begin to subside as the tiny, meager energy trickles into your system. Your eyes, usually so sharp in identifying enemy weak points, now meticulously scan the floor, the shadows, the corners, for anything overlooked, anything edible that might have survived the collapse, or the scavengers. A glint catches your eye under a fallen beam, a small metallic canister. You move towards it, your heavy boots crunching on debris. It's empty. Of course it is. A faint, almost imperceptible sigh escapes your lips, a tiny puff of air into the vast, empty space. The irony isn't lost on you, armed for a galactic war, yet brought low by the simple, ancient need for food. It's humbling, isn't it? To realize that even when you're built for the toughest fights, when your armor is impenetrable and your weapons are deadly, the simplest needs of the body can bring you to a halt. A stark reminder of the fragile human beneath the hardened shell. A faint, musky scent, almost earthy, tugs at your senses, pulling you away from the barren grandeur of the upper halls. It's an unfamiliar aroma, but it holds a strange, primal promise, a hint of something organic, something that might sustain. You descend a crumbling service stairwell, each step a careful calculation against the debris and the centuries of neglect. The air grows cooler, denser, carrying the distinct aroma of damp earth, mildew, and deep, undisturbed stone. Cobwebs, thick and sticky, brush against your visor, a minor annoyance compared to the persistent, gnawing emptiness in your gut. You push through a heavy, warped wooden door, its hinges groaning like an ancient beast, into what must have been the castle's vast kitchens. The space is cavernous, dominated by immense, blackened hearths where fires once roared. The very air here feels heavy, with a forgotten history of industry and sustenance. Your boots crunch on layers of hardened soot, shattered pottery, and what looks like fossilized food scraps, an archaeological dig of domesticity. The silence, again, is profound, but here it's a silence of abandonment, not just decay. Your eyes, usually so focused on threat analysis, now meticulously scan every shadowy corner, every overturned barrel, every dark crevice. You move with a different kind of stealth, not stalking an enemy, but hunting for sustenance, a slower, more deliberate, almost desperate kind of search. You pry open a rusted iron grate, revealing nothing but a deeper darkness and the scamper of unseen vermin. A wave of frustration washes over you, sharp and quick, a primitive emotion unfamiliar in its intensity. Your hands, trained to wield plasma rifles, now awkwardly shift through crumbling sacks, finding only dust and the brittle remains of long-rotted grains. Then, under a collapsed stone shelf almost hidden, you spot a cluster of small, dark growths clinging to the damp stone. Fungi. Unfamiliar, grotesque in their pallid appearance, but undeniably organic. You hesitate, your advanced training screaming caution, but your body, fueled by instinct, pushes past the doubt. You carefully pluck one, its cap cool and slimy against your gloved finger. You bring it closer, the faint, earthy smell a little more potent. Every warning system in your mind is firing, but the primal urge is stronger. You feel a strange disconnect, the high-tech warrior reduced to foraging like an animal. You peel back a small section of your visor, exposing just enough of your mouth. The first bite is bitter, a sharp, unpleasant taste that makes your jaw clench. It's tough, rubbery, nothing like the nutrient paste or synthesized protein you're used to. But you chew, slowly, deliberately, forcing it down. It's not about flavor or enjoyment. It's about absorbing the raw energy, silencing the relentless complaint of your stomach, sustaining the machine. The rough texture, the raw, earthy taste. It's a direct link to the most fundamental aspects of existence, bypassing all the technological layers. It's strange, isn't it? To conquer alien worlds, to master advanced weaponry, only to find yourself facing the oldest, most basic battle of all, the relentless, unforgiving demand of your own body for survival. The smell hits you first, not the metallic tang of war, nor the sweet decay of forgotten grandeur, but something deep and earthy, a rich, cool scent of damp soil and ancient roots. You push through a low, arched doorway, its stone slick with moss and clinging tendrils, and immediately the air changes. It's thick, humid, clinging to your visor, a stark, almost oppressive contrast to the dry, dusty upper levels. Your heavy boots sink slightly into soft, loamy earth. Not the hard flagstones or shattered concrete you're accustomed to. A strange, yielding sensation underfoot. This isn't a corridor anymore. It's more like a burrow, twisting and narrowing, carved both by man and by the relentless, patient march of nature, which has patiently taken over. The light is almost gone here, reduced to feeble, greenish glimmers that only emphasize the encroaching, absolute darkness ahead. You rely heavily on your environmental sensors, their low-light amplification painting the world in stark, monochromatic greens and blues, a digital ghost of what lies before you. Giant roots, thick as your arm and gnarled like old bones, snake across the floor and down the walls, bursting through ancient mortar, their earthy scent now almost overwhelmingly potent. You have to duck, sometimes even crawl on all fours, the rough, abrasive stone scraping against your armor. A dull, metallic grind that echoes strangely in the confined space. The constant, distant drip of water from above has become a rhythmic plink, 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 much clearer now. A natural, almost hypnotic soundtrack to this subterranean world, a world utterly indifferent to your presence. Then you hear it, a faint, almost imperceptible rustle, like dry leaves skittering across the ground, or something scurrying just beyond your line of sight. Your head snaps up, every combat instinct flaring, weapon raising automatically, the familiar weight, a comfort. But there's no visible enemy, no glint of alien tech, no familiar thermal signature, just the quiet movement, repeated, close by, then further away, a symphony of unseen motion. You lower your weapon slowly, listening intently, trying to discern the mundane from the malevolent. It's the sound of small, unseen life, insects, maybe rodents, navigating their own dark domain. It's a mundane, almost insignificant sound, yet it sends a different kind of shiver down your spine than the roar of a plasma cannon. This isn't the organized chaos of battle. This is the untamed, unpredictable chaos of raw nature, an enemy without intent. You step carefully, your eyes constantly scanning the shifting shadows, not just for threats, but for the source of these elusive sounds, trying to understand this new, wild ecosystem. A small, dark shape darts across your path, too quick to identify, vanishing into a crevice in the wall before your optics can lock on. You feel a strange sense of displacement, an almost surreal disconnect. Your advanced gear, designed for interstellar combat against impossible odds, feels almost out of place here, in this ancient primal space, where the biggest threats are gravity and hunger, not alien invaders. The natural world has thoroughly reclaimed this fortress, turning it into something wilder, something far beyond its original human design. The sheer, unwavering tenacity of life, adapting, surviving, thriving in the ruins of human ambition, is a powerful, profoundly humbling observation. It's astonishing, isn't it? How life, in its simplest, most tenacious forms, persists and thrives in the tiniest cracks of destruction, a quiet, insistent force that often goes unnoticed amidst the grander battles, but is, in its own way, as powerful and enduring as any weapon or empire. A new kind of determination settles over you, a quiet hum beneath the usual combat readiness. The faint rustling, the scuttling of unseen life from the deeper recesses of the burrow, now sounds less like a threat and more like a challenge, a potential solution. The air here remains thick with damp earth, but a new, almost metallic tang, subtle and ancient, mingles with it, hinting at something else further on. You move with a different kind of stealth now, not just to avoid detection, but to observe, to understand the patterns of these tiny, elusive inhabitants. You find a sheltered alcove tucked away behind a mass of gnarled roots, where the ground is relatively clear. This will be your station. From your utility belt, you extract a multi-tool, its advanced alloys and intricate mechanisms usually reserved for field repairs on plasma weaponry or encrypted comms. Now, its tiny saw blade is pressed into service, carefully notching a fallen branch, no thicker than your thumb, found amidst the debris. The rough wood splinters under the precision cut, a stark contrast to the clean lines of engineered materials. Your gloved fingers, usually quick on a trigger, now work with a delicate, unfamiliar patience. You unravel a few strands from a discarded fraying cable, its synthetic fibers surprisingly strong, creating a crude snare. It's a primitive art, this, one your training never covered. You position the branch, a small lever, balancing it precariously, a tiny counterweight of crumbling stone holding it taut. The air is still, the only sound, the soft scrape of stone, the faint buzz of your armor's internal systems. and the persistent drip, drip, drip of water from somewhere deeper. Every twitch of a shadow, every whisper of air is amplified, not as a threat, but as an indicator of presence, of life. You scour the immediate area, eyes sharp for anything that might serve as bait. Under a damp, overturned stone, you find a cluster of small, pale grubs, squirming faintly. They are grotesque, alien to your experience, but undeniably protein. You pick one up, its soft, cool body, a strange sensation against your armored finger, and carefully position it within the snare. The whole setup is fragile, precarious, a testament to desperation. It feels almost absurd, this monumental effort, this application of advanced intelligence to such a minuscule, ancient task. Your armor, designed to withstand re-entry, feels heavy, cumbersome, almost ridiculous as you kneel here, painstakingly setting a trap for a creature no bigger than your thumb. You retreat into the shadows, pressing yourself against the cold, damp stone, weapon held loosely, but your gaze fixed intently on the tiny improvised trap. The waiting begins. The silence stretches, broken only by your own shallow breathing and the distant water. It's a different kind of tension, not the adrenaline-fueled rush of combat, but a slow, quiet patience, a battle of wits against instinct. You can almost feel the presence of the tiny, unseen life around you, oblivious, moving in its own world. It's humbling, isn't it? To realize that no matter how far technology advances, how complex the battlefields become, the fundamental drives of survival, and the ingenuity required to meet them, remain utterly, universally primitive. The cold, rough bite of the ancient stone presses hard against your back, even through the dense layers of your armor. You shift slightly, a low groan escaping your lips, not of pain, but of a deep-seated weariness that no rest seems to fully alleviate. Beneath you, a thin layer of scavenged, dried straw offers only token resistance against the unforgiving floor, its brittle stalks poking and scratching through the gaps in your suit. An endless, subtle irritation against your skin. The faint, earthy smell of damp soil and lingering dust fills this tiny makeshift alcove you've claimed as a temporary haven. A forgotten storage nook tucked deep within the castle's bowels. This isn't a bed, not even close. It's a compromise, a desperate attempt to find a moment of stillness in a world that never truly sleeps. The air here is heavy, cool, carrying the ghost of old moisture, yet still dry enough to irritate your throat. You can hear the distant, monotonous drip, drip, drip of water, a rhythmic pulse that seems to mark the slow, inevitable passage of time in this silent, forgotten corner. Above, a sliver of darkness, just out of reach, hints at the vast, crumbling structure overhead, a fortress that is both shelter and prison. You close your eyes, trying to force your body into a semblance of peace, but every muscle aches. Every joint complains. The sheer weight of your armor, a vital protection, now feels like a crushing burden, preventing true relaxation. Even with your eyes shut, your mind remains hyper-alert, a constant, low-level hum of vigilance. Every faint creak of settling stone, every whisper of wind finding its way through unseen cracks, is filtered and analyzed by senses honed for combat. This is what passes for sleep now. A half-conscious state, a shallow dive into darkness, always ready to surface at the slightest provocation. Your hand instinctively drifts to the weapon lying beside you, its cold, metallic surface, a familiar comfort against your gloved fingers. You don't pick it up, just feel its presence, a silent reassurance in the suffocating quiet. You try to remember the softness of a real bed, the quiet hum of a proper life, but the memories are faded, like old photographs, replaced by the persistent reality of cold stone, hard ground, and the ever-present threat. You shift again, trying to find a new angle, a less painful spot, but it's futile. The discomfort is a constant companion, a dull background noise to the exhaustion. The faint glow of your suit's operational lights casts long, dancing shadows on the rough-hewn stone walls around you, painting this tiny space in hues of green and blue, a sterile, alien light in a deeply ancient place. You see the rough carvings on the stone, the marks of tools from centuries past, a silent testament to hands that once toiled here, creating something that was meant to endure. And here you are, a transient, armored ghost, seeking respite amidst their enduring legacy. It's a strange thing, this forced rest, isn't it? When your body yearns for peace, but your mind refuses to surrender to it, keeping you in a constant state of preparedness, even in the deepest shadows. The heavy, musty smell of ancient fabric, long undisturbed, now fills your immediate space, a thick, comforting cloud. You carefully adjust the salvaged tapestry. Its once vibrant blues and golds now faded to muted whispers, draping it over a fallen archway. This creates a small triangular alcove, a makeshift sanctuary, carved from the heart of the crumbling castle. The coarse, dry wool brushes against your arm as you work, a strangely soft sensation against your hardened armor. It's a fragile barrier, easily pierced, but it offers a profound sense of enclosure, a brief illusion of privacy in an endlessly exposed world. Inside, the light is dim, filtered through the thick weave, casting a warm, sepia glow that softens the harsh realities of the surrounding ruin. You spread a layer of dry, loose earth and scavenge straw as a base, then arrange another, smaller piece of tapestry, its surface brittle with age, as a rudimentary bedroll. It's far from comfortable, still lumpy and prone to shifting, but it's yours. For the first time since you awoke, you feel a conscious decision to pause, to create, rather than simply react. The air here, though still carrying the pervasive scent of damp stone and decay, feels less hostile, less active, as if the tapestry absorbs the surrounding tension. You lean back against the cool, solid stone of the castle wall, a natural anchor for your tiny fort. The familiar hum of your armor's systems is now the loudest sound, the distant drips and creaks of the castle muted, almost swallowed by the heavy fabric. Your eyes trace the faded images on the tapestry, a hunting scene perhaps, or a courtly gathering. Figures frozen in a dance from a time when these walls pulsed with laughter and music, not the echoing silence of a battlefield. It's a stark contrast to your own reality, a momentary window into a world utterly alien, yet undeniably human. You reach into your pouch, pulling out a small metallic canteen. The water is stale, but you sip it slowly, savoring the cool, wet sensation, allowing yourself this small luxury. It's not about quenching an overwhelming thirst. It's about the deliberate act, the brief moment of quiet consumption in a space you've made your own. Your gaze drifts to the narrow opening you've left, your only way out. It's small, easily defensible, a tactical advantage you appreciate, even in this moment of respite. This isn't a fortress. It's a burrow, a momentary hiding place, but it holds a strange, potent power. You shift, pulling the corner of the tapestry tighter, blocking out a sliver more of the exterior world. The silence within this small space is deeper, more profound, a personal quiet against the vast, empty drone of the castle. Here, you are not just a soldier, you are also a builder, a temporary inhabitant. It's remarkable how, even amidst endless destruction and the constant struggle for survival, the human need for a place, however temporary, however crude, to call your own, persists. It's more than just shelter. It's a claim, a small, defiant act of being. The biting cold of the rushing water splashes against the lower half of your armor, a sudden, shocking embrace that makes your breath catch in your throat. You've descended deeper than ever, navigating collapsing passages that finally open onto the very edge of the Cher River, flowing relentlessly beneath the castle. The air here is thick with moisture, heavy and raw, carrying the sharp, clean scent of cold fresh water, a stark contrast to the stale dust and decay of the upper halls. Your boots are submerged in a shallow pool, the current tugging gently at your armored calves, a constant, insistent pull against your stance. The darkness is profound, broken only by faint, fractured moonlight filtering through high, broken arches further down the river, painting the swirling surface in shifting patterns of silver and obsidian. The roar of the current fills your ears, a powerful, ceaseless sound that drowns out all other whispers of the castle, a primeval symphony of raw nature. You reach out, gloved fingers brushing the surface of the river. It's icy, shockingly cold, instantly seeping through the microfabric of your gloves, a chilling reminder of its indifferent power. The sheer force of the water, its relentless motion, is humbling. It has flowed like this for centuries, uncaring of wars, of castles, of the fleeting struggles of humanity. You lean against a massive, water-worn stone pillar, its base slick with moss, feeling the slight vibration of the flowing water transmitted through the ancient structure. Your optical sensors struggle to penetrate the inky depths, revealing only vague, shifting shapes of debris carried by the current. It's a completely alien environment to you, this dark, powerful river. No clear lines of sight, no solid ground for cover, only the ceaseless, hungry rush. Your mission protocols, usually so clear, feel strangely muted here, replaced by a more fundamental instinct: observation, survival against an elemental force. You can almost feel the invisible tug of the current, visualizing its immense power to erode rock, to carry away entire sections of the castle foundations. The very structure around you, built to withstand sieges, now feels vulnerable, constantly battered by this timeless force. You consider the possibilities the river presents: a hidden ingress, an escape route, a source of danger. The chill of the water seems to penetrate even the dense layers of your suit, a deep, pervasive cold that settles in your bones, a reminder of the raw, untamed world that exists just beyond the sterile confines of your armor. The water swirls around your feet, a constant, cold caress, an ancient voice whispering secrets of the earth. It is an enduring presence, a testament to time and resilience, flowing onward, just as you must. It's humbling, isn't it? To stand against something so vast and ancient, a force that simply used as utterly indifferent to the battles we wage, yet offering a profound sense of continuity in its endless flow. The biting cold of the river current now feels less like a shock and more like a tactical problem, a force to be measured and understood. You lean further, your gloved hand dipping deeper into the surging flow, feeling the sheer raw power of the Cher River. The water is frigid, a deep, bone-chilling cold that seems to bypass the thermal regulation of your armor, a stark reminder of the limits of even advanced technology against primal elements. The air here, heavy with the sharp, clean scent of pure water, also carries the subtle, earthy tang of mud from the riverbanks, an aroma of both life and unpredictable danger. Your eyes, usually so quick to spot a distant enemy sniper, now sweep the expanse of water, assessing its potential. This river is both a lifeline and a formidable barrier. On one hand, it's a boundless source of fresh water, a crucial resource in this desolate landscape. On the other, its relentless current and icy depths present a terrifying challenge. You calculate the trajectory of the floating debris, watching how the eddies and whirlpools form, mentally mapping the hidden dangers of the undercurrents. Your heavy armor, a boon on solid ground, would be a crushing liability in these unforgiving waters, dragging you down with merciless efficiency. The very thought makes your muscles tense. You trace the eroded lines on the castle's ancient stone foundations that plunge directly into the dark, churning water. There are no bridges nearby, no discernible shallow points where you could safely cross or even use it as a sustained path. The banks themselves are a treacherous mix of crumbling stone and slick, muddy earth, offering little purchase. You imagine an enemy approaching from the river, their forms obscured by the shifting reflections, their approach masked by the roar of the current. It's a blind spot, a weakness in your otherwise robust defenses. And yet, this very untamed nature also makes it a potential escape route, a way to disappear from land-based pursuit, if you could only find a way to navigate its treacherous embrace. You shift your weight, scanning the opposing bank, a dark, tree-lined silhouette against the faintly moonlit sky. No movement, just the dense, shadowed vegetation. You note the sheer distance, the impossible gap between the castle and that far-off shore. The river is a separator, a natural moat, reinforcing the castle's isolated position. You take a slow, deep breath, the cold, damp air filling your lungs, and the chill seems to sink even deeper into your core. You instinctively check your weapon, a silent, almost unconscious act, a reassurance against the unknown threats this elemental barrier represents. The noise of the river is constant, a powerful, unwavering roar that makes all other sounds inconsequential. It's a natural force, a powerful, indifferent entity in your battlefield. It's strange, isn't it? How something so fundamental, so natural, can become both an immense source of strength and an insurmountable obstacle, forcing you to constantly reevaluate your strategies, not against sentient foes, but against the very world itself. The absolute darkness is a tangible thing, pressing in from all sides, a thick, suffocating blanket that swallows every photon. You've descended a final, crumbling stairwell into what feels like the very heart of the ancient castle, a chamber so deep, so cut off, that even the distant moan of the river, or the persistent drip, drip, drip of water is completely muted. The air here is stale, heavy with the scent of undisturbed earth and the profound, musty odor of centuries-old stone, a smell of deep time and forgotten purpose. Your advanced optical sensors, usually so capable, struggle against this primal void, painting the nearest surfaces in vague, shimmering outlines of green and gray, a futile effort against true blackness. You move with agonizing slowness, your heavy boots barely scraping the uneven floor, each step a careful probe into the unseen. Your gloved hand runs along the wall, feeling the cold, rough-hewn stone, tracing its unseen contours, searching for any break, any passage, anything to orient yourself in this oppressive gloom. The surface is slick with ancient damp, a slimy film that clings to your armor, making every touch a cold, clammy caress. You feel the claustrophobia pressing in, a primal fear that bypasses your combat conditioning, a sense of being buried alive within the very bones of the earth. Then you hear it, a low, resonant groan, a sound that seems to emanate from the very stone around you, deep and slow, like the castle itself is sighing under an unbearable weight. It's not a violent collapse, not the sharp crack of breaking timber, but a drawn-out, almost organic sound, a structural complaint echoing through the bedrock. It fades, leaving an even deeper, more profound silence in its wake, a silence that now feels charged with a different kind of tension. You stop, weapon at the ready, thermal scans sweeping the empty space, finding nothing but cold stone. A moment later, a faint, wispy sound, almost imperceptible, brushes against your audio sensors. It's too faint to be a definite word, too ethereal to be a structural creak. It's like a phantom whisper, a breath of air through a long-forgotten crack, or perhaps the echo of an echo from ages past. Your mind, starved of visual input, latches onto it, trying to define the shapeless sound. Is it the settling of dust, or something else entirely? The air around you, thick and still, feels undisturbed, yet the sound persists, a low, barely there murmur that tugs at your senses, chilling you more than any physical cold. You press on, one more step into the unknown. The darkness is not just an absence of light here. It feels like a presence, a watchful ancient entity. Each careful movement, each strained breath within your helmet, feels amplified, intrusive, in this realm of deep, unbroken quiet. It's strange, isn't it? How, in the absence of light, your other senses sharpen, twisting the mundane into something profoundly unsettling, making the very stillness of the world an intense and inescapable experience. The pressure in your ears is almost painful, a deep, resonant hum born from the profound absence of sound. Your advanced motion sensors, usually a symphony of alerts and positional data, remain stubbornly, mockingly blank in this ancient, lightless void. It's a cruel silence, devoid of the familiar digital cues you rely on, forcing your mind to work in overdrive, straining against the limits of its own biological hardware. The air, thick with the scent of deep earth and mineral deposits, feels heavy against your exposed skin, almost solid, and you find yourself subtly tasting the dust, the lingering decay on your tongue, a grim barometer of this forgotten space. You stand utterly still, a sentinel carved from advanced alloy, yet stripped back to raw instinct. Every nerve ending, every receptor in your body feels acutely alive, stretched to an almost unbearable tension. You focus, trying to discern the minutest shift in the oppressive quiet. Was that a breath? A faint tremor underfoot? The slight, almost imperceptible drag of displaced air? Your visor displays the barest shimmer of green, a ghostly outline of the immediate wall, but it offers no true insight, no reliable data. You become the motion sensor, your own mind processing the infinitesimal data points, trying to build a three-dimensional model of this unseen world. Your fingers, still gloved, brush against the damp, cold stone, feeling its rough texture, the subtle contours of age and erosion. You map the wall not by sight, but by touch, a crude, slow but absolute method. The faint, rhythmic thump of your own heart against your ribs seems impossibly loud, a drum against the profound silence, a constant reminder of the fragile life contained within the reinforced shell. Your breath is shallow, carefully controlled, lest its faint whisper obscure some vital, fleeting sound. You can almost feel the weight of centuries pressing down, a heavy blanket of time and forgotten events. You tilt your head, straining to pick up any vibration through the soles of your heavy boots, anything that might betray movement, an enemy, or even just a falling pebble. But there's nothing, just the unwavering, deep stillness. The complete lack of external input is more disorienting than any chaotic battlefield. Your internal clock, usually so precise, feels stretched, warped, the seconds drawing out into an eternity of intense, almost painful, hyper-awareness. You are a biological radar dish, sweeping the emptiness, waiting for the faintest return signal. The castle breathes around you, a slow geological pulse, and you are intensely attuned to its every, almost imperceptible, shift. It's an incredible thing, isn't it? How your mind, accustomed to overwhelming data streams, can be stripped back to its most basic, primal functions, yet still find a way to interpret, to understand, to survive in a world that offers no easy answers, just the profound silence and the relentless demand for vigilance. The raw, splintered edge of ancient wood bites into your gloved hand, even through the hardened material. A rough, insistent friction that speaks of centuries of wear. You grip the massive lever, thick with ingrained grime and dampness, and push. A deep, guttural groan erupts from the very foundations of the castle, a sound of immense, grinding protest that seems to vibrate through your entire body. The air around you, thick with the smell of old, dry timber and the persistent damp earth, feels heavy with the effort. You are attempting to operate a vast, cumbersome mechanism, a relic of a forgotten age, a heavy wooden gate, or perhaps a drawbridge, its purpose now only vaguely understood. Your advanced suit is designed for precision, for speed, for devastating force, not for this kind of brute, slow, primal labor. You brace your heavy boots against the slick, moss-covered flagstones, feeling the strain radiate from your shoulders, down your back, through your legs. Every muscle protests, unfamiliar with this sustained, grinding resistance. This isn't a quick burst of energy for a jump or a dodge. It's a test of sheer, unyielding endurance. Above you, thick ropes, stiff and frayed with age, stretch taut, groaning in concert with the timber. They are coarse, almost brittle, their ancient fibers whispering a warning as they tighten. You watch them, your eyes calculating the visible wear, the thinness of the individual strands, wondering if they'll hold. A single snap could send the entire mechanism crashing down, or worse, swing back with enough force to shatter bone. You can feel the tension in them, a palpable, vibrating energy that transfers through the wood, through your hands, a live thing pulling against time itself. Your breath is shallow, focused. You push again, gritting your teeth, the effort momentarily eclipsing all other senses. The weight of the wood is immense, a solid, stubborn block that seems to defy movement. Your augmented strength, usually so effortless, now feels barely adequate. The metallic scent of your own exertion, a subtle tang of sweat and ozone from your suit's internal systems, mixes with the rich, earthy smell of the old wood. You hear the creak of unseen gears, the rumble of ancient stone shifting, a symphony of archaic engineering slowly yielding to your will. A tiny, almost imperceptible shift. The mechanism moves. Not much, just a fraction of an inch, but enough to know that it is not entirely fused in place. You maintain the pressure, feeling the wood vibrate under your touch, the ropes humming with incredible tension. This task isn't about rapid-fire destruction. It's about patience, about understanding the language of decaying materials, about forcing an ancient world to obey your modern will. It's a completely different kind of fight, slower, heavier, more profoundly physical. It's truly humbling, isn't it? To face an enemy not of flesh or plasma, but of raw physics and time, realizing that sometimes the oldest challenges demand the most fundamental strengths, forcing you to engage with the world in a way technology has long forgotten. The biting cold of rusted iron scrapes against your gloved hand, a jagged, unwelcome friction that bites even through the hardened material as you test the ancient drain pipe. You need to reach that high alcove, a potential vantage point, a possible storage cache, nestled high in the crumbling stone. The air here, stale and dry, carries the faint, metallic tang of iron oxide, a taste of decay and structural instability that makes your throat ache. Below, the floor is a dangerous mosaic of broken tiles and splintered wood, revealing a dizzying 70-foot drop into utter, echoing darkness, where only the persistent, ghostly drip of water marks the passage of time. This isn't a battleground to assault with a plasma rifle. It's an architectural puzzle, a test of ingenuity demanding a different kind of precision than any combat scenario. Your combat training, usually focused on fluid, explosive movements through enemy fire and urban mazes, now recalibrates for a slow, vertical traversal on crumbling ancient structures. You meticulously assess the pipe's integrity, calculating its breaking point, gauging the rusted bolts that precariously anchor it to the weathered stone. Your enhanced vision picks out the almost invisible hairline cracks in the mortar, the loose, powdery stones that could betray your grip at any moment. Every instinct screams caution, a low hum of alert that has become a constant companion, but it's a different kind of threat assessment now, focused on gravity and time, not alien bioweapons. You test your weight, slowly, meticulously, the ancient metal groaning a deep, unsettling protest beneath you, a sound that grates on your nerves, a warning from the castle itself. You begin to climb, your heavy boots finding precarious purchase on tiny, uneven ledges, your armored body surprisingly agile, almost fluid, despite its bulk. Each movement is deliberate, a silent, slow-motion ballet of calculated risk and raw physical effort. Your muscles, trained for explosive sprints and devastating melee, now engage in a sustained, agonizing strain. You can feel the burning tremor in your forearms, the deep ache in your shoulders and core, a raw exertion that feels more primitive and fundamental than any energy weapon recoil. The cold, rough texture of the stone presses against your chest and knees as you ascend, a constant, abrasive contact that rubs against the outer layers of your suit. You are a living climbing tool, adapting your every function to this ancient, decaying challenge. A loose piece of masonry, dislodged by your passage, breaks away from the wall, clattering loudly against the pipe before plummeting into the darkness below, its faint echo swallowed by the profound void. You freeze, clinging to the cold iron, your breath held tight, listening intently. Nothing. Just the profound, encompassing silence of the deep castle, broken only by your own strained breathing, amplified within your helmet. The faint, high-pitched whine of your suit's internal gyroscopes, diligently stabilizing your precarious position, is the only reminder of the advanced technology encased around you. You are a ghost from the future, silently scaling a relic of the distant past, your advanced gear reduced to mere tools for rudimentary survival in a world that has forgotten such things. Finally, with a grunt of exertion, you reach the alcove, pulling yourself over the crumbling edge, landing lightly with a soft thud onto the solid stone. The air here, somehow, feels cleaner, stirred by a faint, unseen current that whispers through unseen cracks. You scan the confined space, not for targets or tactical objectives, but for anything useful, any scrap of resource. Your tactical mind now entirely a foraging instrument, adapting its analytical power to the most basic needs. It's truly remarkable how adaptable the human spirit, and the advanced training that hones it, becomes, isn't it? A rich, cloying smell, heavy with the sweetness of decay and the dry dust of ages, immediately assaults your senses. It's a profound, almost suffocating aroma, distinctly different from the metallic tang of war or the damp earth of the lower levels. You push open a warped, sagging door, its ancient wood groaning in protest, and step into a chamber that breathes a forgotten opulence. Your gloved hand brushes against a hanging curtain, its once vibrant velvet now brittle, torn, almost dissolving at your touch. The texture, though ruined, whispers of a softness long lost, a stark contrast to the rough stone and cold metal you've grown accustomed to. Dust motes dance in the thin, fractured light filtering through a high, broken window, illuminating the skeletal remains of what were once lavish furnishings. Heavy, ornate chairs lie toppled, their cushioning shredded, exposing coils of rusted springs and stuffing that crumbles to powder. A grand, four-poster bed, its canopy long collapsed, looms in the center, A ghostly monument draped in more of that decaying velvet, its rich crimson faded to a dull, sickly brown. You move slowly, your heavy boots crunching softly on scattered splinters of fine wood and what feels like dried leaves. The air, though thick with the scent of aged fabric and forgotten luxury, holds a peculiar stillness, an almost reverent quiet that feels heavier than any battle silence. It's a quiet born of abandonment, of a past definitively sealed off from the brutal present. You can almost hear the echoes of laughter, of hushed conversations, of the rustle of silks that once filled this space, now completely overridden by the profound silence of ruin. This chamber, once a haven of comfort, now feels like a tomb for a way of life that no longer exists. You reach out, tracing a delicate, gilded pattern on a splintered table leg. The gold leaf, though tarnished and flaking, still holds a faint shimmer, a stubborn spark of defiant beauty. The cold, smooth wood beneath it feels ancient, solid, a silent witness to countless generations. It's a strange feeling, touching something so carefully crafted, so intentionally beautiful, in a world where every object is now defined by its utility and survival. Your enhanced optics cut through the gloom, but instead of enemy signatures or tactical layouts, they reveal only the intricate, heartbreaking details of a lost world. The tiny, faded embroidery on a fragment of cushion, the delicate curve of a broken ceramic vase, the silent testament to lives lived entirely differently. You feel a profound sense of temporal displacement, the dizzying realization of the immense chasm between your reality and the lives that once thrived here. This place is not just old, it is ancient in a way your modern world has forgotten, a raw, exposed nerve of history. It's truly a strange feeling, isn't it? To be a soldier from a hyper-advanced future, surrounded by the echoes of profound beauty and meticulous craftsmanship, and to realize that time, in its relentless march, levels all things, reducing even the grandest luxuries to mere fragments of dust and memory. A faint brittle crunch under your heavy boot pulls your attention to the floor. It's the distinct sound of old paper, almost like dried leaves, a stark contrast to the rough stone and splintered wood that usually lines your path. You kneel, the familiar metallic tang of your armor against the decaying velvet of the grand chamber, and push aside a fallen, heavy drape. Beneath it, nestled in a pocket of undisturbed dust, lies a small, leather-bound book, its cover warped and cracked with age, its pages swollen and yellowed. The scent that rises from it is immediate and unique, a dry, delicate aroma of aged parchment and forgotten ink, mingled with a lingering hint of something floral and faintly sweet, a ghost of old perfumes. It's an intoxicating smell of deep history, utterly unlike the sterile, processed scents of your own time. You pick it up, carefully, your gloved fingers surprisingly gentle against the fragile material. The leather is brittle, almost powdery, crumbling slightly at your touch, a sensation of profound fragility in your hardened grip. You open it to a random page, the brittle paper rustling softly, a whisper from another era. Your optical sensors, designed for threat identification, now zoom in on the faded script, an elegant, flowing handwriting completely alien to the digital interfaces you usually encounter. It's not a code, not a schematic, but rows of delicate words, flowing across the page. Your suit's language processors struggle, translating snippets, phrases of daily life, of observations about weather, about hopes, about ordinary joys and sorrows. A small, pressed flower, fragile and desiccated, falls from between the pages, landing silently on the stone floor, its petals barely holding together, a tiny, defiant splash of color against the dust. You feel a strange, profound connection, not to an enemy, not to a comrade, but to a stranger, to a life lived centuries ago within these very walls. This isn't data you can use in a firefight. It's something more elemental, more human. Your combat-hardened mind, usually so focused on the immediate threat, now pauses, caught in this unexpected window into a bygone era. The air feels thinner, charged with the weight of that forgotten presence. You can almost sense the delicate hand that penned these words, the eyes that read them, the thoughts that stirred behind them. It's a powerful, almost overwhelming moment of stillness, an unexpected respite from the relentless grind of survival. You close the book gently, the soft click of the cover, a final, respectful sound. The dust motes still dance in the fractured light, but now they seem to shimmer with a different meaning, carrying the echoes of every breath taken in this room. You place the book back down, carefully, as if returning a precious secret to its rightful keeper. The small pressed flower lies beside it, a final, poignant testament. It's truly incredible, isn't it? How even after everything crumbles to dust, after wars rage and time consumes, the smallest, most personal echoes of humanity can still pierce through the chaos, reminding you of the enduring, fragile essence of what it means to be alive. A biting gust of wind whips across your visor, carrying the sharp, clean scent of distant pines and the deep, earthy smell of the river below. You stand high on the castle's battlements, the rough, weathered, stone-cold and abrasive, even through the thick soles of your heavy boots. Far below, the Cher River gleams like a ribbon of molten silver under the pale sky, winding through what used to be meticulously manicured gardens, now a wild, untamed expanse of tangled green and forgotten pathways. The sheer height makes your stomach lurch slightly, a primal reaction even your augmented body can't entirely suppress. You move to the very edge of the crumbling parapet, your gaze sweeping the vast panorama. This isn't a city in ruins, nor a bombed-out industrial complex. This is nature reclaiming its territory with relentless, quiet power. Dense, ancient forests stretch to the horizon, a sea of dark green that seems to whisper with unseen life. Distant hills roll in soft undulations, their peaks hazy in the thin light. From this vantage, the castle itself appears a fragile, embattled island against the overwhelming green, its broken towers and shattered walls testaments to a different kind of war than the one you fight. Your tactical sensors, usually buzzing with enemy signatures and mapping grids, remain mostly silent, painting only vague thermal outlines of wildlife moving through the undergrowth. This is a landscape without easy targets, without clear objectives, a canvas of survival stripped back to its most fundamental elements. You feel the constant pressure of the wind, a relentless force that tugs at your armor, a physical reminder of your exposed position. The cold stone under your gloved hands, where generations of guards once stood, feels heavy with their forgotten vigilance, a silent bond across centuries. You analyze the terrain below, a habit etched deep into your combat psyche. Where would an enemy deploy in such an environment? The river, broad and swift, acts as a natural barrier, but also a hidden highway for a cunning adversary. The dense forest offers endless cover, a green maze perfect for ambushes. You trace imaginary lines of fire, mentally calculating range and trajectory from this elevated position. Your advanced weaponry, a silent promise against whatever might emerge from the wild. The scale of the world here feels immense, humbling, stretching far beyond the confines of your usual urban battlegrounds. You can almost feel the weight of every past siege, every battle fought on these very ramparts, echoing through the cold stone beneath your feet. The raw, untamed beauty of the landscape is undeniable, but it's a beauty that holds a profound, indifferent danger. It's astonishing, isn't it? To find yourself high above the world, a warrior from the future, seeing a landscape that has endured for millennia, and realizing that no matter the era, the challenges of survival and the profound weight of history remain constant, timeless, and utterly demanding. The biting wind, a constant companion high on these ramparts, now carries the metallic tang of fresh rust scraped from ancient iron. You press your gloved palm against a massive, weathered block of stone, feeling its immense, unyielding weight, its profound age vibrating through your very core. You're not just observing the castle's defenses anymore. You're actively reinforcing them, bending your hyper-advanced combat doctrine to the brutal simplicity of medieval architecture. The air is cool, carrying the familiar scent of damp earth and the sharp mineral tang of rock dust you're generating. You drag a heavy, warped wooden beam, salvaged from a collapsed guardhouse, across the uneven flagstones. The wood groans, splintering under the friction, a harsh, grating sound that echoes across the deserted battlements. Your augmented strength, usually reserved for shattering alien armor, is now applied to this mundane Herculean task. Each shift of the beam sends a jarring tremor up your arms, a profound physical ache that contrasts sharply with the precise, controlled movements of your usual engagements. You position it to brace a crumbling section of the parapet, creating a crude but effective barricade where the wall has become dangerously thin. It's a temporary measure, a desperate improvisation, but it's asterisk something. Your eyes, usually scanning for heat signatures and energy readings, now meticulously trace the lines of the castle's ancient defenses, seeking weak points, potential breach locations. The gaps in the crenellations, once designed for archers, are too wide, offering insufficient cover against modern projectile weapons or even the sharp claws of something less conventional. You use discarded sheets of thick, rusted iron, hammered flat with the butt of your rifle, to narrow these openings, the sharp clang of metal on metal, a jarring symphony in the quiet evening air. The sound feels primitive, raw, a visceral echo of forgotten artisans. You feel the deep resonance of the river beneath the castle, a constant, low thrum that vibrates through the stone, an ever-present reminder of a vast, natural flank. Your gaze sweeps the wild, overgrown gardens below, then the dark expanse of the forest beyond, a green, undulating sea that could hide anything. This fortress wasn't built for what you're used to fighting, but its fundamental principles of defense remain strangely universal. Choke points are still choke points. High ground is still an advantage. A solid wall, no matter how old, is still a barrier. The challenge here isn't defeating a technologically superior foe. It's adapting. It's about leveraging the raw, enduring power of stone against unknown threats, and marrying it with the tactical foresight of a soldier from a future that has long forgotten this kind of physical, grinding warfare. You secure the last piece of makeshift reinforcement, your breathing heavy, your hands aching from the unaccustomed labor. The stone feels cold, hard, and stubbornly resolute under your touch. It's a peculiar thing, isn't it? To find yourself building, reinforcing, becoming one with the ancient, raw strength of these walls, realizing that true defense, in any era, relies not just on weapons, but on the unyielding will to protect, and the tireless effort to endure. You press the small, cold Calm Link button embedded in your wrist gauntlet, a familiar, ingrained habit. Instead of the crisp click and the immediate, reassuring hum of a live connection, there's only a dull, unresponsive thud against the metallic casing. The air, heavy with the scent of damp earth and ancient stone, remains utterly silent, save for the whisper of wind through a distant, broken archway. No digital static, no faint chatter of encrypted channels, no distant reports of enemy movement, just the profound, encompassing quiet of the castle. Your internal display, usually a vibrant overlay of tactical data and comm status, remains stubbornly blank where the signal strength indicator should be, a flat, mocking gray against the green schematic of your immediate surroundings. It's a constant, visual taunt, a reminder of the vast, unbridgeable gulf between your advanced reality and this ancient, unforgiving world. The digital world, your world, has simply ceased to exist here, replaced by raw stone and the relentless march of time. You try again, a flicker of irritation sparking in your chest, a primitive emotion that's become all too frequent. You tap the screen, swipe the interface, cycling through non-existent frequencies, but the outcome is always the same. Nothing. The smooth, cool surface of the comm unit feels dead, inert, a useless piece of advanced engineering in a world that clearly doesn't understand its language. The absence of the usual, low digital hum, the constant, almost subliminal background noise of your existence, feels like a physical void, a missing limb. Your ears, usually filtering through layers of electronic sound, are now painfully sensitive to every creak of settling stone, every distant drip of water, every soft rustle of unseen life. The silence itself becomes a kind of noise, an oppressive blanket that amplifies your own breathing inside your helmet. You feel a profound sense of isolation, a disconnect more chilling than any enemy ambush. Usually, even in the deepest enemy territory, you're part of a network, a silent, unseen web of intelligence and support. Here, you are truly alone. The sheer vastness of the castle, its intricate, sprawling architecture, feels heavier, more daunting, without the reassuring pulse of a distant command. You raise your head, scanning the crumbling walls, the high, broken ceilings, not for threats, but for anything that might offer a line of sight, a chance to connect. But the ancient stone, dense and unyielding, seems to swallow any hope of signal, acting as a natural Faraday cage, a silent sentinel against all forms of modern communication. The cool, rough stone presses against your back as you lean against it, a physical anchor in this sea of digital emptiness. Your hands, trained to respond to split-second intel, feel oddly useless, deprived of their vital input. You can almost taste the frustration, a bitter tang in your mouth that mixes with the omnipresent dust. The only sounds are the natural ones, the sigh of the wind, the almost imperceptible grind of ancient stone settling, the distant, muffled roar of the river, all amplified by the profound silence of your unresponsive tech. This isn't just a breakdown. It's a severing, a complete cut from your known reality, leaving you to contend with a solitude you've rarely, if ever, experienced. It's strange, isn't it? How deeply you rely on those invisible threads, those digital lifelines that connect you to everything, and how utterly exposed and alone you feel when they are suddenly, completely, irrevocably gone. The chilling, damp air of the ancient stone corridors presses in, a heavy, silent weight that feels profoundly alien. You stand perfectly still, your advanced optical sensors sweeping the gloom, but instead of the crisp, data-rich overlays of enemy movement or tactical objectives, your internal display remains stubbornly, achingly blank. There's no comforting hum of a data stream, no distant chatter of comms, no precise coordinates beaming into your consciousness. Just the profound, encompassing silence of the castle, broken only by the faint, rhythmic drip of unseen water and the whisper of wind through forgotten cracks. This isn't just a communication blackout. It's a complete severing, a mental exile to an era that speaks a language your advanced mind barely comprehends. You feel a constant, almost physical ache, a phantom limb sensation for the absent digital world. Your mind, trained to process torrents of information, to navigate complex virtual spaces, now grapples with the raw, unfiltered reality of stone, damp earth, and absolute quiet. It's like being forced to navigate a vast, intricate library, but every book is written in a forgotten script, and your advanced datapad simply refuses to power on. You reach out, your gloved fingers tracing the rough, cold texture of the ancient wall, feeling its immense, unyielding solidity. It's real, undeniably real, and utterly devoid of the electromagnetic fields, the subtle energy signatures, the constant, invisible pulse of technology that defines your true home. Memories flicker, sharp and vivid, of the gleaming chrome cities, the soaring orbital platforms, the constant, low thrum of countless systems working in perfect symphony. You remember the immediate, intuitive access to any piece of information, the effortless coordination with your squad, the reassuring presence of a global network. Here, in this cold, musty fortress, those memories feel like dreams, beautiful, unreachable specters from a life that might as well be 1,000 light-years away. A profound sense of longing washes over you, a deep, quiet yearning for the future you were ripped from, a future so technically advanced it feels like magic to this ancient world. The very air smells different here, not the clean, sterile scent of filtered atmosphere, but a complex tapestry of damp earth, decaying wood, and the faint, sweet decay of time itself. You taste the dust, the lingering mineral tang on your tongue, and it's a constant, visceral reminder of your displacement. You're a ghost from another time, armored and deadly, yet utterly disoriented by the sheer, overwhelming pastness of everything. Your combat instincts remain sharp, an ingrained reflex, but the battlefield itself has shifted, becoming a test not just of strength, but of your mental fortitude against the relentless assault of anachronism. You are a high-speed vehicle stuck in thick mud, powerful but unable to move with purpose. It's an unsettling thing, isn't it? To be a being forged by the future, marooned in a forgotten past, and to realize that sometimes the greatest challenge isn't the enemy you face, but the unbearable silence of a world that has forgotten your language, a world that exists utterly without you. The faint ethereal scent of roses, somehow still clinging to the damp air, drifts past your visor. It's an incongruous aroma, delicate and sweet, utterly out of place, amidst the pervasive smell of damp stone, decay, and the metallic tang of your own armor. You push through a collapsed section of a wall, its jagged edges scraping against your suit, and step into what was once a vast, open-air gallery, now completely overgrown. This isn't the interior of the castle anymore. This is a wild, living, breathing space, yet it still holds the faint, spectral scent of cultivated beauty. Your heavy boots crunch on a thick carpet of dried leaves and tangled weeds, a rustling symphony underfoot. The air is surprisingly cool, a refreshing contrast to the stale confines of the castle, carrying the rich, earthy scent of damp soil and vibrant, untamed plant life. Overhead, an unbroken expanse of gray sky stretches, occasionally glimpsed through gaps in the dense, thorny bushes that have completely overrun the gallery. These aren't manicured hedges. They are savage, defiant growths, their branches twisted like grasping claws, their leaves a dark, almost menacing green. You reach out, your gloved hand brushing against a thorny stem. A sharp prick, even through the tough material, reminds you of its wild, untamed nature. This isn't a gentle encounter with nature. It's a confrontation with its raw, indifferent power. You can feel the constant, subtle resistance of the undergrowth, the way it snags at your armor, demanding effort for every step. Your advanced optics highlight the individual thorns, sharp and gleaming, an array of natural defenses more insidious, in some ways, than a laser grid. Buried deep within the thorny tangle, you spot a single, half-opened rose, its petals a muted, dusty pink. Its fragility, its defiant bloom amidst the chaos, is a stark, almost heartbreaking contrast to the destructive power around it. You lean closer, inhaling its faint, sweet perfume, a moment of profound, unexpected beauty in a world reduced to survival. The scent is pure, untainted by the decay, a whisper of a forgotten world where such things were cultivated, admired, It's a fleeting, almost surreal experience. But then, a rustle nearby, closer this time, cuts through the momentary reverie. Your head snaps up, weapon raising automatically, eyes sweeping the dense foliage. Nothing. Just the wind, perhaps, or something moving unseen in the depths of the thorny thicket. The immediate, primal threat quickly eclipses the fragile beauty. The rose, a momentary distraction, is a reminder that even in beauty, danger, and certainly struggle, always lurks. The natural world offers no respite, only new challenges. It's strange, isn't it, to find such unexpected fragile beauty amidst overwhelming decay and the constant threat of the wild, and to realize that even the most delicate things can exist, stubbornly, defiantly, in the harshest of realities. A rich, sweet scent of disturbed earth fills your visor, deep and promising, completely different from the stale dust or the metallic tang of battle. You kneel in a small, sheltered corner of the overgrown gallery, a sliver of broken sunlight finally reaching this forgotten patch. The soil beneath your heavy, armored knee is dark, moist, and surprisingly soft, yielding easily as you press down. It's a primal sensation, this direct contact with raw, living ground, a stark contrast to the unforgiving concrete and fractured metal of your usual terrain. You carefully unholster your combat knife, its hardened alloy blade, usually meant for alien hide or enemy tech, now serving a vastly different purpose. With slow, deliberate movements, you begin to turn the soil, breaking apart clumps of clay, sifting out small, jagged bits of stone and ancient pottery. The rhythmic scrape of the blade against the earth, the soft crinkle of decaying roots, becomes a meditative sound, a stark counterpoint to the rapid-fire chaos of your typical existence. Your gloved hands, usually precise in wielding devastating weaponry, now work with an unfamiliar delicacy, preparing this tiny patch of ground. Each breath fills your lungs with the rich, earthy smell, a scent of growth and quiet potential. From a salvaged pouch, you carefully extract a handful of tiny, dried seeds, their surfaces rough and irregular. They are remnants of a forgotten harvest, found in a crumbling storage room, their viability a complete unknown. You hold them in your palm, feeling their delicate weight, a fragility that contrasts sharply with your armored, hardened form. They are the essence of hope, tiny dormant promises in a brutal, uncertain world. You can almost feel the faint warmth of the filtered sunlight on your visor, a gentle, insistent pressure that fuels this unexpected, quiet act. With the tip of your knife, you poke small, shallow holes in the prepared soil, spaced meticulously, a grid of future life. Then, with painstaking care, you drop a single seed into each opening, covering it gently with a pinch of earth. It's an act of profound vulnerability, trusting something so small to an environment so vast and unpredictable. Your enhanced optics focus on the minute details, the way each grain of soil settles around the tiny seed, the faint ripple of water from your canteen as you pour a few drops over the planted area. The water, stale from your canteen, still feels like a blessing as it soaks into the dry earth, a tiny act of creation in a world consumed by destruction. The sun continues its slow descent, painting the broken castle walls in hues of orange and deep purple, as you stand back, surveying your tiny plot. It's barely a square foot, almost absurd in its insignificance, but it represents something profoundly personal. The wind rustles through the nearby overgrown bushes, carrying with it the persistent scent of damp stone. But here, in this small, cultivated patch, the rich, sweet smell of living earth dominates, a defiant whisper against the pervasive decay. It's truly something, isn't it? To realize that even when everything is designed for destruction, when your very existence is about fighting and breaking, the deepest, most persistent human instinct is still to create, to nurture, to sow the smallest seeds of hope in the most desolate soil. The biting lash of ice-cold rain immediately assaults your visor, a stinging torrent that momentarily blinds you. The roaring wind, a monstrous physical force, slams into your armored frame, threatening to tear you from your precarious footing high on the exposed ramparts. You instinctively brace, digging the heavy soles of your boots into the slick, uneven stone, feeling the immense pressure against your chest, against every inch of your suit. The air, thick with the sharp, metallic tang of ozone and the clean, raw scent of an approaching tempest, fills your lungs, chilling you from the inside out. The castle walls, usually a steadfast bastion, now feel like a funnel, amplifying the wind's guttural howl to a deafening crescendo. Rain sheets down, not in drops, but in solid, sweeping curtains, blurring the world into a chaotic mosaic of gray and dark, churning water. Your advanced optics, designed to pierce through smoke and urban haze, are overwhelmed, reduced to a flickering, distorted blur as water streaks across the lens. Visibility plummets to mere feet, creating a suffocating tunnel vision that breeds a primal sense of vulnerability. You reach out, your gloved hand immediately slick with the cold, driving rain, feeling the rough, drenched stone, now treacherous underfoot. Every creak and groan of the ancient castle is swallowed by the storm's relentless fury, replaced by a constant, overwhelming roar that vibrates through your entire body. The chill of the rain, despite your suit's thermal regulation, begins to seep in, a deep, pervasive cold that settles in your bones, a chilling embrace from the indifferent elements. You can feel the small streams of water finding their way into the tiny seams of your armor, an unwelcome trickle that reminds you of your own fragile humanity beneath the hardened shell. You turn your head, trying to cut through the deluge, searching for anything, any sign of stability, but there's only the churning chaos. Your internal systems register minor pressure fluctuations, the suit fighting to maintain environmental integrity against the sheer force of the storm. It's a battle not against an enemy with a weapon, but against the raw, unyielding power of nature itself, a force that cares nothing for advanced technology or strategic objectives. You take a deep, shuddering breath, the cold, wet air stinging your throat, but also invigorating, a brutal reminder of being alive. The battlements, once a point of observation and defense, are now a battleground of sheer endurance, a test of will against the elements. You press yourself against the ancient stone, feeling its immense immovable mass, finding a temporary anchor in the heart of the storm. The wind howls past your ears, a scream that seems to echo the wild, untamed spirit of this forgotten world. It's astonishing, isn't it? How even with all our technology, all our strength, the raw, unbridled power of the natural world can still strip us bare, reducing us to our most fundamental, enduring selves, clinging to solid ground against the storm's relentless fury. The thunderous roar of the wind from the exposed ramparts has been significantly muted here, reduced to a deep, resonant rumble that vibrates through the very stone of the castle. You've retreated into a narrow, stone-lined passage deep within the structure, finding a temporary respite from the storm's direct fury. Rain still drums relentlessly on the exterior walls, a heavy, ceaseless thrumming that makes the ancient edifice feel like a giant, resonating drum. The air, while still cool, carries the pervasive scent of damp stone and a faint, almost metallic tang of wet earth, a less immediate assault than the raw ozone of the open battlements. You lean back against a thick, unyielding section of the interior wall, feeling its immense, immovable mass, a solid barrier against the chaos outside. It's not dry here, not truly. The cold dampness seems to seep from the very pores of the stone, a constant, pervasive chill that works its way into the smallest gaps of your armor, a constant reminder of the storm's relentless power. Despite the protection, a shiver runs through you, a primitive response to the cold that your advanced suit can only partially mitigate. The passage itself is dark, illuminated only by faint, sporadic flashes of lightning that briefly paint the rough-hewn walls in ghostly silver, making the shadows dance like anxious spirits. Your enhanced audio systems, no longer battling the direct onslaught of wind, now pick up the subtler sounds of the storm's impact. The persistent gurgle of water rushing through unseen drains, the heavy plash of overflowing gutters, and the unsettling creak of ancient timbers groaning under the relentless pressure. Every sound, even the seemingly benign, is filtered through your combat-trained mind for any hint of structural compromise, any whisper of a breach. You sweep your gaze along the ceiling, checking for fresh cracks, for trickles of water that might indicate a weakness. The castle feels like a living, breathing entity, weathering the storm, its ancient bones straining against the elemental assault. You take a slow, deep breath, the cold, damp air filling your lungs. It's a strange, almost profound sensation, this feeling of being cradled within the belly of an ancient beast, protected by centuries of stone, yet utterly aware of the furious, untamed world raging just beyond the walls. The constant drumming of rain and the low rumble of thunder become a kind of lullaby, a brutal primal rhythm that paradoxically offers a strange sense of security. This stone cocoon, though old and damaged, has become your temporary sanctuary, a place to endure the unendurable. It's remarkable, isn't it? How, even when surrounded by overwhelming destruction, the simplest act of finding shelter, of drawing close to something solid and enduring, can offer a profound sense of momentary peace, a quiet resilience against the storm. A tiny defiant spark, painstakingly coaxed from a sliver of flint against salvaged steel, finally catches the dry tinder. You feel its immediate, astonishing warmth on your gloved fingers, a physical blessing against the pervasive cold of the stone chamber. A thin curl of acrid smoke tickles your nostrils, mingling with the scent of damp earth and old decay, but it's quickly followed by the comforting woody aroma of pine needles and dry kindling beginning to burn. The fragile flame flickers, dances, then reluctantly embraces the small pile of scavenged twigs, casting tentative, dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls around you. This isn't the controlled blaze of a plasma torch or the instant heat of a deployable generator. This is raw, primitive fire, fought for, earned. You kneel, carefully feeding the hungry, growing ember with small, dry branches, the crackle and hiss a triumphant symphony in the deep quiet. The warmth radiates outwards, pushing back the oppressive chill, a small, vibrant core of life in the heart of the dead castle. Your hands, usually operating complex weapon systems, now work with a delicate, unfamiliar finesse, nurturing this vital, primal energy source. The orange glow reflects in your visor, a miniature sun in the vast darkness, a stark contrast to the sterile green of your usual HUD. Next to the burgeoning fire, a small, crude spit fashioned from a straightened metal rod and two leaning stones holds your prize. The small, pale creature caught in your makeshift trap is impaled, its skin glistening faintly in the firelight. It's a grotesque sight, certainly, far from the perfectly portioned nutrient paste you're accustomed to, but it represents survival, a promise of warmth in your grumbling stomach. The air around the fire begins to change, the raw scent of wood smoke slowly giving way to a new, savory aroma, faint at first, then growing stronger, more insistent, a scent that bypasses logic and speaks directly to your primal hunger. The sizzle is soft, almost a whisper, as the creature's meager fat begins to render, dripping onto the hot stones with a tiny, satisfying hiss. Your stomach growls again, a deeper, more urgent rumble, acknowledging the success. You turn the spits slowly, meticulously, watching the skin crisp and brown, your eyes, usually tracking enemy movements, now focused with laser precision on this most basic of tasks. The warmth of the fire on your face, the tantalizing smell in your nostrils, the low, steady crackle of the flames, it all combines into a profound, almost overwhelming sensory experience, a complete immersion in the fundamental act of sustaining life. Finally, you pull the cooked creature from the fire, its heat almost too intense through your gloves. The first bite is rich, savory, slightly gamey, completely unlike anything your futuristic palate has ever known, yet utterly satisfying. The warmth spreads through your mouth, down your throat, a wave of profound relief washing over your entire being. This isn't a battle victory. It's something far more fundamental, a triumph of basic needs. It's truly something, isn't it? To realize that even when you are a warrior from a time of advanced technology, the simplest, most primal acts, the making of fire, the cooking of food, can bring the deepest, most fundamental satisfaction, grounding you firmly in the raw, undeniable present. The lingering taste of cooked meat, slightly gamey but undeniably savory, still warms your mouth, a pleasant ghost against the pervasive metallic tang of your armor. You sit by the small, crackling fire, feeling its radiant heat soak into your cold suit, a profound physical comfort. The air, thick with the rich scent of wood smoke and lingering animal fat, now feels less hostile, less empty. The small, successful hunt, the painstaking process of starting the fire, of cooking, has created a tiny bubble of triumph in the heart of this ancient, broken world. It's a victory, not of plasma bolts and enemy takedowns, but of primal, enduring survival. A quiet, personal win that resonates deep in your being. You turn your gloved hand, examining the crude makeshift tools you used, the flint and steel, the straightened metal rod, the carefully arranged stones. These aren't engineered with precision or advanced alloys. They are simple, raw materials, repurposed with ingenuity, born of necessity. The rough, cold feel of them against your advanced armor creates a strange friction, a juxtaposition of two wildly different eras, both focused on the singular goal of survival. The firelight flickers, casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn stone walls, illuminating the ancient markings, the scars of time, now briefly softened by the dancing light. Your gaze sweeps the small, firelit chamber, now your temporary sanctuary. The space feels less like a ruin and more like a home, however temporary, however crude. The profound silence of the castle, usually so oppressive, is now filled with the gentle, rhythmic crackle of the fire, a comforting, almost hypnotic sound. It's a different kind of alert, a different kind of vigilance, focused not on external threats, but on maintaining this fragile, precious warmth, this small, self-made pocket of safety. You can almost taste the quiet satisfaction, a strange, unfamiliar flavor that mixes with the lingering smoke. You lean back against the cold stone, the heat from the fire reaching your back, a profound relief. For a fleeting moment, the relentless pressure of combat, the disorientation of your temporal displacement, the constant gnawing of hunger, all recede, replaced by a simple, raw contentment, a feeling of having met a fundamental challenge and emerged, however briefly, victorious. It's a quiet affirmation, a potent reminder that even in the most desolate circumstances, ingenuity and determination can carve out moments of success, sparks of hope. The future you came from, with all its technological marvels, often overlooked these basic, visceral triumphs. The flames dance, a living, breathing thing in the darkness, and you watch them, mesmerized by their simple power. This is more than just warmth or food. It's a testament to the enduring human spirit, a small, defiant act of creation in the face of overwhelming odds. It's truly incredible, isn't it? How these small, fundamental victories, the kind that were once taken for granted in a world of abundance, can become the most profound and deeply satisfying triumphs when you are pushed to the very edge of what it means to survive. A sharp, acrid tang, like ozone and superheated metal, suddenly fills your mouth. A phantom taste that sears the back of your throat. It's the undeniable, lingering ghost of plasma, a chemical memory that assaults your senses, even as you stand in the quiet, damp stone corridor of the ancient castle. The air here, heavy with mildew and decaying plaster, clashes violently with this artificial, destructive flavor, creating a jarring, disorienting sensation that pulls you back, violently, into the heat of a forgotten battle. You instinctively clench your jaw, the phantom taste refusing to dissipate. Your hand tightens on your weapon, not to fire, but as a reflex, a primal connection to the devastating energy it can unleash. You can almost feel the weapon's core humming, ready to ignite, a brilliant blue-white flash scorching the air, followed by the concussive boom that always accompanied a full plasma burst. The raw, immense power, the sheer destruction, that taste is the echo of it, burned into your very being. Here, in this silence, the memory feels amplified, a deafening roar within your mind, a stark contrast to the distant, lonely drip of water in the hall. You glance to your left, then to your right, a fleeting, almost unconscious movement, expecting a familiar silhouette to mirror your stance, a silent nod of readiness. But there's only the crumbling stone, the empty shadows, the profound, unyielding silence. A cold, empty space resonates beside you, a vacant point in the formation that should be filled. You remember the quick, precise movements, the fluid synchronicity, the unspoken communication that flowed between you, each knowing the other's next move, covering every angle. A shared breath, a brief, knowing glance before the next wave of enemies broke. That connection, that undeniable presence, is now just a profound, aching absence, a ghost that walks beside you in this desolate quiet. The rough, cold texture of the ancient castle wall presses against your armored back, a blunt, indifferent reality against the vivid, burning memory. This place, so utterly steeped in a human past, feels completely oblivious to the alien wars, the futuristic battles, and the comrades whose laughter and shouts still echo in your mind. The silence here is not peaceful. It is a heavy shroud, a constant reminder of the lives that are no longer here, of the sacrifices made, of the overwhelming, lonely burden of carrying those memories forward. You can almost feel their spectral touch, their silent support, a phantom weight on your shoulders pushing you forward. It's a heavy thing, isn't it? To carry the echoes of so much fire, so much loss, so many lives within you, knowing that in this ancient world you are the last, solitary beacon of a future that has, for all intents and purposes, utterly vanished. A deep, aching hollowness settles in your chest, a familiar companion that feels heavier than your armor. It's the profound, lingering sense of a mission incomplete, of a world left vulnerable. You stand by a high, broken window, the cold, damp wind sighing through the gap, carrying the faint, earthy scent of river and forest. Your enhanced vision sweeps the vast, untamed landscape beyond the castle walls, now bathed in the pale, indifferent light of dawn. There are no enemy fleets on the horizon, no alien invasion forces descending, no desperate cries for help echoing through your comms. just the quiet, relentless march of time, and the pervasive sense of a world completely unaware of the dangers you know exist. Your hand instinctively clenches into a fist, then slowly relaxes. The cold metal of your gauntlet, a blunt reminder of your singular solitary presence. You remember the roar of the command center, the frantic data streams, the urgent pleas from besieged planets. You remember the clear, undeniable purpose: to fight, to defend, to push back the tide. Here, there is no one to defend, no enemy to fight in the way you were trained. The ancient world, in its serene, unyielding indifference, seems to highlight your powerlessness, your devastating capabilities rendered utterly moot. The raw, beautiful landscape, so vibrant with life, seems to mock the very concept of galactic war, existing in a peaceful, ignorant bubble. A profound weariness settles over your shoulders, deeper than any physical fatigue. It's the exhaustion of a warrior with no war, a guardian with no one to protect. The familiar weight of your weapon, usually a source of grim comfort, now feels heavy, almost alien in its silence. A tool built for destruction that has no true target here. The only sound is the persistent sigh of the wind, a lonely, mournful whistle that seems to echo the melancholy in your own heart. The air tastes of dust and damp stone, a bitter tang that clings to your tongue, a symbol of a forgotten world you cannot save. You trace the crumbling outline of a gargoyle on the window frame, its ancient, grotesque face frozen in a silent scream, an echo of forgotten fears. It's a stark contrast to the sleek, terrifying designs of the alien horrors you are accustomed to. Yet it speaks of a universal human need for defense, for symbols against the unknown. You feel like a relic yourself, a warrior from a time that has no place in this gentle, dangerous past. The urge to act, to fight, to fulfill your purpose burns within you, a relentless, unspoken command that has no outlet. You turn away from the window, the vast green world a silent judgment. The castle, in its decay, feels like a mausoleum for your purpose, a tomb for the future you were meant to save. It's an incredible weight, isn't it? To be a soldier trained for the highest stakes, to carry the burden of an entire galaxy on your shoulders, only to find yourself utterly marooned in a world that doesn't need your war, and can't even comprehend the battles you still carry within you. A sudden, icy prickle runs down the back of your neck, a cold finger tracing skin, even through the advanced thermal regulation of your suit. It's not the damp chill of the stone, but something sharper, more invasive, cutting straight to your core. The air, thick with the scent of old dust and stagnant moisture, suddenly feels thinner, charged with an inexplicable tension. You freeze, every combat instinct flaring, weapon raising automatically, the familiar weight, a solid anchor in your trembling hand. Your head snaps to the left, your enhanced optics sweeping the crumbling corridor. And then you catch it, a fleeting, almost imperceptible blur at the very edge of your peripheral vision, a darker shadow detaching itself from the deeper gloom before vanishing entirely. It's gone as quickly as it appeared, too fast, too ambiguous to be real, yet utterly undeniable. You stand utterly still, your breath held tight, straining to hear over the amplified beat of your own heart. Within your helmet, the profound silence of the castle now feels less empty and more present, as if the ancient stone itself is holding its breath. Your thermal scans find nothing, just the cold, inert rock. Your motion sensors, still unresponsive in this archaic environment, offer no data, leaving you adrift in a sea of raw, unverified perception. Was it a trick of the fading light? A stray bat? Or something else? Something that understands the shadows better than you? You lower your weapon slowly, but your grip remains tight. The eerie feeling persists, a persistent unease that crawls along your nerves. You move forward, one deliberate step at a time, your eyes constantly darting, trying to catch the phantom image again. Every creak of the settling stone, every whisper of the wind through a broken archway now seems laden with intent. The ancient tapestries, hanging in tattered strips, appear to sway just a fraction too much, their faded images seeming to watch you with silent, knowing eyes. You feel watched, intensely observed by something you cannot define, something that exists just beyond the reach of your advanced senses, playing a silent game of cat and mouse in the gloom. A sudden, soft scrape, like stone on stone, echoes from a passage to your right, then nothing. You spin, weapon up, but the shadows remain unbroken, the silence absolute once more. The hair on your exposed neck bristles. This isn't an enemy you can shoot. It's a creeping dread, a slow poison designed to erode your resolve. It's unsettling, isn't it? To realize that sometimes the most profound threats are not those you can see or fight, but those that exist only in the elusive fringes of perception, twisting reality into a battlefield of the mind. A subtle shift in the stale, damp air, almost imperceptible, brushes past your exposed skin, a cold caress that makes every nerve ending prickle. It's not the wind, not a draft from a broken window. It feels more deliberate. The lingering taste of dust in your mouth, usually a constant companion, now carries a faint, acrid note, almost like burned metal or something organic that has decayed quickly. Your mind, hyper-alert from the flicker you saw earlier, struggles to categorize this new sensory input. You stand utterly still in the silent, crumbling corridor, your weapon held tight, its familiar weight a cold comfort. Your enhanced optics sweep the deep shadows clinging to the ancient stone, but find nothing. No thermal signatures, no energy emissions, no familiar alien bioforms. The profound quiet of the castle is absolute, yet it feels heavy, charged with an invisible presence, like a held breath. Your combat protocols, usually so precise, feel strangely inadequate here. You're trained to identify and eliminate clear threats, the heavy thrum of alien machinery, the telltale shimmer of cloaked infiltrators, the guttural roar of a charging beast. This is none of that. This is a ghost of a sensation, a whisper of a doubt, a feeling that something is simply there, just beyond your ability to perceive. Your gaze darts to the tattered remnants of a tapestry, its faded image of some forgotten hunt, now swaying gently in an imagined breeze. Was it truly the wind, or did something just brush past it? Your advanced suit, designed to filter out environmental noise, suddenly seems too quiet, its lack of data almost screaming in your ears. You press your back against the cold, rough stone, feeling its solid, unyielding support, yet the feeling of vulnerability persists. The pervasive smell of mildew and ancient decay that saturates the air seems to deepen, to take on a more sinister quality. You take a slow, deep breath, the filtered air tasting sterile, yet your mouth is dry. You've faced unimaginable horrors across the galaxy, fought against species beyond human comprehension, but this unknown, this lingering uncertainty, gnaws at you in a different way. Is it a survivor, some unseen human, or something native to this ancient world, a horror that predates even the castle, stirring from a long slumber? Your mind cycles through possibilities, each more unsettling than the last, because none fit the neat, definable parameters of your training. The cold seems to intensify. A chilling awareness of something unseen, something watching. You push forward, one heavy bootfall after another, the sound echoing too loudly in the silence. The shadows ahead seem to lengthen, to deepen, to shift and coalesce into vague, fleeting shapes at the very edge of your awareness. You can feel the constant, almost physical pressure of an unseen gaze, tracking your every move, playing a game you don't understand. The old stone breathes around you, and every creak, every distant drip, every imagined rustle feels like a deliberate signal. It's truly a strange thing, isn't it? To be a warrior, an apex predator of the future, yet to find yourself adrift in a primal fear, when the enemy is so undefined, so elusive, that you begin to question the very reality of what you perceive. A sharp, metallic tang, like ozone and burnt plastic, suddenly fills your visor, far stronger and more accurate than anything you've encountered in this ancient castle. It's the unmistakable scent of fried circuitry, of advanced technology, violently, definitively broken. You push through a narrow breach in a crumbling wall, your heavy boots crunching on fallen debris, and step into a smaller, isolated chamber. There, in the center of the room, lies a twisted, broken husk of what was once a power conduit from your own time. Its alloy casing is ripped open, exposing a snarl of shattered circuits, blackened wiring, and crystalline conduits fractured into countless sharp shards. You feel a sudden, involuntary shiver, not of cold, but of profound unease. Your gloved hand reaches out, tracing the jagged edges of the broken metal, feeling its cold, brutal finality. This isn't the decay of centuries. This is violent, immediate destruction, a wound that feels utterly fresh, utterly personal. The air around it crackles faintly with a residual, almost imperceptible static charge, a ghost of the immense power it once carried. You kneel, your advanced optics meticulously scanning the wreckage. The damage is extensive, complete. No amount of field repair, no amount of ingenuity could ever bring this back to life. It's an empty shell, a monument to technological defeat. The profound silence of the castle, usually so heavy with history, now feels suddenly charged with a different kind of quiet. A silence that screams of malfunction and failure. The familiar, low hum of your own suit's internal systems, usually a comforting presence, now feels fragile, vulnerable in the face of such absolute destruction. You can almost taste the bitter tang of powerlessness, a sharp, unwelcome flavor in your mouth that mixes with the scent of ozone. This conduit, once a lifeline, a source of endless energy for advanced systems, is now just inert scrap, rendered utterly useless by some unknown force. Your mind races, trying to reconstruct the events that led to its demise. Was it battle damage, a system overload, or something else, something designed to specifically disable technology from your era? The lack of answers is maddening, a puzzle with crucial pieces missing. You press your palm against the cold, smooth casing of your own active weapon, feeling its internal warmth, its readiness. It's a vital, powerful tool. But this wreckage is a stark reminder of its ultimate fragility, its dependence on an energy source that, here, is clearly finite, utterly breakable. This ancient castle, with its enduring stone and primal challenges, feels like a silent, indifferent judge of your technological hubris. It's a chilling thing, isn't it? To be confronted with the utter, absolute fragility of the very technology you rely on, and to realize that sometimes, no matter how advanced you are, true power lies in adaptability, not just in raw, destructive force. A sharp, metallic tang, like copper and raw electricity, suddenly bites at your nose, mingled with the persistent, damp earth scent of the castle. You kneel, surrounded by the wreckage of the broken power conduit, your gloved hands sifting through the charred remains of circuits and the brittle fragments of crystalline power cells. This isn't a repair. It's an excavation, a desperate attempt to salvage even the minutest spark from the technological graveyard around you. The cold, rough stone of the chamber presses against your knees, a grounding, indifferent presence against the frantic hum of your desperate thoughts. You extract a single, intact, albeit cracked, power cell from the debris. Its smooth, cool surface feels strangely delicate in your hands, a fragile vessel that once held enough energy to power a small city. Now, it offers only a faint, almost imperceptible warmth against your armored palm. Its internal readings are weak, flickering, a dying ember of its former glory. But it's not completely dead. Hope, a fragile, persistent thing, sparks in your chest, a tiny, defiant warmth in the vast coldness of the castle. Your multi-tool, usually used for precision engineering, is now pressed into service for a far more crude, visceral form of mechanical surgery. You carefully strip a length of salvaged copper wiring from a discarded, ancient bell system, its green corrosion flaking under your touch. The wires are thin, fragile, completely inadequate for the immense power you're used to, but they are all you have. The air smells of old metal and the faintest hint of ozone as you work, creating a bizarre fusion of pre-industrial materials and futuristic components. Every movement is painstaking, deliberate, a test of patience that contrasts sharply with the rapid, decisive actions of combat. You gently attach the scavenged copper to the barely functioning power cell, bridging a gap where advanced circuitry once lay. The connection is crude, precarious, held together by a prayer and a thin strand of salvaged, insulated wire. Your enhanced optics focus with laser precision on the minute junction, trying to coax the barest whisper of energy to flow. You feel a faint, almost imperceptible tingle on your gloved fingers, a surge of adrenaline, a whisper of success. A tiny, almost invisible flicker of light appears on the power cell's indicator, a defiant spark against the gloom, a monumental victory in this world without power grids. You hold the cobbled-together device, feeling its faint, persistent hum, a fragile heartbeat of technology in the silent, ancient stone. It's not enough to power your weapons, not even close. But it might be enough for a basic sensor, a short-range comms burst, a flicker of light when the darkness becomes too oppressive. It's a testament to ingenuity, a physical manifestation of stubborn refusal to surrender to a world that wants to drag you back into its past. The weight of it in your hands feels profound, heavy with the effort, the desperation, and the fragile hope it represents. It's astonishing, isn't it? How, when faced with overwhelming odds and stripped of all your usual advantages, the human drive to adapt, to innovate, to force the future to live, even in the most primitive of conditions, becomes the most powerful weapon of all. A sudden, sharp tang, like dry dust kicked up from undisturbed ground, instantly assaults your nose. It's an immediate, primal alert, cutting through the pervasive scent of damp stone and ancient decay. You freeze, every muscle tensing, your weapon already half raised, its cold, familiar weight a reassurance. Your eyes, usually sweeping for thermal signatures, now strain against the deep, pervasive shadows of the long, crumbling corridor. The silence, usually absolute, now feels charged, a held breath, amplifying the frantic beat of your own heart within your helmet. And then, you see it, a fleeting, undeniable shift in the gloom ahead, a darker shadow detaching itself from the permanent darkness, moving with a subtle, fluid grace that is utterly unnatural. It's not the rustle of a rat, not the settling of dust, but a deliberate, purposeful motion. It flashes for a mere fraction of a second at the very edge of your enhanced vision, then vanishes, swallowed by the deeper, inky blackness around a distant archway. The air still feels thick with the faint scent of disturbed earth, a visceral confirmation of what your eyes just told you. You stand utterly still, your breath held tight, every fiber of your being screaming for more data, for confirmation. Your custom-rigged sensor, powered by the salvage cell, flickers weakly, barely registering a faint, ambiguous displacement. Not enough. Not enough to identify. Not enough to target. The profound quiet returns, thicker, heavier, making the absence of sound a suffocating presence. This isn't a battle drone. This is something organic, something that moves with unsettling stealth through the ancient gloom. Your hand tightens on your weapon, your knuckles white under the cold metal. Your mind races, cycling through possibilities, trying to match this elusive movement to any known threat profile. Alien scout? Human survivor? Or something else entirely, something this old world has cooked up in its forgotten corners. The lack of clear information is maddening, forcing your highly advanced mind back to primal deduction, relying on the most basic of senses. You can almost taste the adrenaline, a sharp metallic tang in your mouth that mixes with the dust. You begin to move forward, one agonizingly slow step at a time, your heavy boots barely scraping the floor. Your eyes are locked on the point where the shadow vanished, trying to coax it back, to force it into the light. Every creak of settling stone, every distant drip of water, now feels like a deliberate signal, a taunt from the unseen presence. The crumbling tapestries that line the walls seem to sway, their faded images appearing to shift, to watch you with silent, knowing eyes, amplifying your sense of being observed, hunted. The silence is a pressure, an enemy in itself. It's a chilling thing, isn't it? To be a warrior built for overwhelming force, yet to find yourself engaged in a silent, agonizing dance with an unseen, undefined threat, where every flicker of movement, every held breath, feels like the difference between life and oblivion. The metallic tang of adrenaline still burns on your tongue, a sharp, bitter aftertaste that lingers from the phantom flicker you just witnessed. The profound silence of the crumbling corridor presses in, now heavier, more oppressive. After the momentary illusion of movement, your weapon is still raised, but your targeting reticle finds nothing but ancient stone and deep shadows. The air, thick with the smell of damp decay and undisturbed dust, feels cold against your exposed skin, a chilling contrast to the phantom heat of a battle that never materialized. You stand utterly still, every nerve ending screaming for a threat, for something tangible to fight, but there's nothing. Just the vast, empty quiet of the castle, amplifying the frantic beat of your own heart inside your helmet. The experience leaves you feeling exposed, vulnerable, not from an enemy's attack, but from the sheer, overwhelming emptiness around you. Your combat training, usually a source of unshakable confidence, feels strangely moot here, designed for coordinated strikes, for covering a teammate's flank, for synchronized pushes. But there is no team, no flank to cover, no one to watch your back. Just you, and the echoing silence. Your gaze drifts to your comlink, a useless, inert piece of technology embedded in your gauntlet. You remember the constant chatter, the tactical updates, the quick, reassuring words from your squad mates. Here, there is only the mocking blankness of the display, the cold, unyielding silence. A deep, aching sense of isolation settles in your chest, a profound loneliness that feels heavier than your armor. You are a self-sufficient unit, a lone wolf, capable of incredible feats of survival, and that is a strength. But in this moment, it feels like an immense, crushing burden. You push off the wall, your heavy boots scuffing softly on the loose debris. The strategic advantage of solitude, the ability to move unseen, to strike without warning, to adapt without consensus, is a powerful one. You are unburdened by the need to protect others, free to take calculated risks that would be impossible with a squad. But this freedom comes at a cost, a persistent, gnawing awareness that every decision, Every mistake is yours alone. There's no shared burden, no voice to confirm your instincts, no other pair of eyes to spot the fleeting shadow. The crumbling castle, with its vast empty halls and labyrinthine passages, feels less like a fortress and more like a mausoleum for connection, a silent testament to a world that existed before the profound loneliness of solo survival. You press on, one deliberate step after another, your heightened senses filtering through the profound quiet, not just for threats, but for anything, even the smallest sign of another living soul. The profound silence, the physical weight of being utterly alone, is a different kind of enemy, subtle and insidious, chipping away at the very core of your resolve. It's a strange contradiction, isn't it? To be forged for war, to be a weapon of singular purpose, yet to find that the deepest battles are often fought within, between the cold efficiency of self-reliance and the profound, undeniable ache for connection. The rough, unyielding texture of ancient stone now feels like a familiar landscape against your fingertips. A second skin formed not of alloy but of calloused, toughened hide. You rub your gloved thumb across the worn surface of your palm, feeling the deep ridges, the hardened patches that speak of countless hours spent prying, lifting, building, and digging. These aren't the soft, precise hands of a pilot, nor the unblemished skin beneath a perpetually sealed gauntlet. This is the hand of a laborer, a survivor, shaped by the brutal, physical demands of this forgotten world. The air, heavy with the persistent scent of damp earth and decaying wood, carries with it a faint, metallic tang from the crude iron spike you are now carefully sharpening against a harder rock, a rhythmic scrape that has become as natural as breathing. You watch the sparks fly, tiny ephemeral embers against the gloom of the deep chamber, each one a testament to effort, to resourcefulness. Your advanced optics, usually capable of intricate targeting, are now focused with primal intensity on the blade's edge, seeking the perfect angle, the optimal sharpness. This isn't the swift, clean work of a plasma cutter. This is slow, painstaking, physical labor, demanding patience and a profound connection to the raw materials. The metallic scent of the iron, the subtle warmth generated by the friction, fills your senses, a tactile, visceral experience that grounds you firmly in the present. The heavy weight of your armor, once a constant, almost crushing burden, has now integrated with your very being. It's no longer an external shell, but an extension of your body, a hardened carapace that moves with a slow, deliberate grace, each movement economical, purposeful. You lean into the grind, feeling the strain radiate through your shoulders, down your back, a familiar ache that no longer screams alarm but rather a quiet, insistent hum of existence. The profound silence of the castle, broken only by the rasp of stone on metal, feels less oppressive now, more like a vast, empty canvas on which to perform the endless, mundane rituals of survival. You pause, flexing your hands, feeling the deep, ingrained fatigue. There's no bitterness in it, no desperate yearning for a past that is irrevocably gone, only a quiet, unwavering acceptance. This is your reality now, the cold stone, the ceaseless effort, the primitive struggle. The future you came from, with all its technological marvels and grand battles, feels like a distant dream, an echo that barely registers against the tangible reality of the rough stone, the cold iron, the beating of your own resilient heart. Your mission has changed, not by command, but by the relentless, shaping force of time and circumstance. Your purpose is now simply to be Vistimate. It's a strange thing, isn't it? To find yourself stripped of almost everything you once knew, to be reshaped by the elements, and to discover that in the quiet acceptance of your fate, there emerges a new, profound kind of strength, one that is as enduring as the stone around you. The cool, rough stone beneath your heavy boot no longer feels alien, but familiar, a foundational rhythm to your existence. You move through the quiet, crumbling corridors of the castle with a fluidity born not of memory, but of ingrained routine. Your armored frame, a natural extension of the ancient architecture. The pervasive scent of damp earth and old stone, once a stark reminder of decay, now blends seamlessly with the faint, sweet smell of the struggling plants in your hidden garden. A living, subtle perfume that anchors you to this unexpected present. The profound silence, once oppressive, has become a vast, intricate tapestry of distant drips, wind whispers, and the soft scuttle of unseen life, a comforting backdrop to your solitary vigilance. You trace the weathered carvings on a doorway, your gloved fingers recognizing the subtle variations in texture, the smooth, worn spots where countless hands have passed. There's no frantic search for threats, no desperate tactical analysis. Instead, your senses are attuned to the quiet pulse of the castle itself, to the subtle shifts in airflow, the minute creaks of settling stone that speak of the building's enduring, patient life. Your body, once a precision instrument of destruction, now moves with the deliberate grace of a craftsman, each step purposeful, each action imbued with a new, quiet meaning. The heavy weight of your armor, once a constant burden, has simply become you, a hardened shell seamlessly integrated with the resilient, adapting core within. You pause by your small, makeshift fire pit, still warm from the embers of last night, the lingering scent of wood smoke, a comforting, earthy aroma, hangs in the air, a testament to your ability to create warmth, to sustain life. You reach out, carefully adjusting a piece of salvaged timber, your touch gentle, nurturing. This is your new battlefield, not against alien invaders, but against the relentless march of time and the elemental demands of survival. And in this slow, patient war you are, remarkably, at peace. The frantic urgency of your past mission, the constant digital hum of a world you knew, now feels like a faded dream, a distant echo from a life that belongs to someone else. Your advanced optics, usually projecting data streams, now simply magnify the intricate patterns of moss growing on the stones, the delicate veins of a single, tenacious leaf pushing through a crack. You observe without judgment, without the need to categorize as friend or foe. It's a profound shift, a deep immersion into the raw, unfiltered reality of existence. The sun, a warm, distant pressure on your visor through a high, broken window, marks the passage of time in a way that feels ancient, fundamental, stripped of all digital precision. The cold stone, the ceaseless effort, the primitive struggle, these are no longer adversaries, but components of a deeply integrated reality. It's astonishing, isn't it, to realize that a body and mind, forged for a future of chaos and advanced conflict, can find not just survival, but a profound, almost spiritual sense of belonging, an unexpected sanctuary, in the very heart of an abandoned ancient past. The first faint blush of dawn kisses the top of your visor, a gentle, pervasive warmth that slowly spreads through your cold, armored body. It's a subtle shift, not a sudden burst, but a gradual lightening of the profound darkness that has dominated the long, quiet night. The air, crisp and fresh, carries the clean scent of dew-kissed earth and the faint, sweet perfume of unseen wildflowers. A stark, beautiful contrast to the stale, metallic tang of decay that usually clings to the castle's interior. You sit perfectly still, perched on a crumbling section of the castle's upper ramparts, feeling the rough, cold stone beneath your heavy boots. a grounding presence as the world slowly awakens around you. The profound silence, once an oppressive blanket, now feels like a vast, empty canvas on which the morning paints its first delicate sounds. You hear the distant, melodic chirping of unseen birds, a symphony of tiny, defiant life breaking the endless quiet. The persistent murmur of the Cher River, flowing relentlessly below, rises to meet you, a low, constant hum that speaks of timelessness and continuity. Your enhanced audio, usually filtering for threats, now simply receives, processing the raw, unfiltered beauty of the awakening world. This isn't the chaotic roar of a battlefield. This is the gentle, insistent pulse of the natural world, slow and profound. Your gaze sweeps the expansive landscape, now slowly revealing itself in hues of soft gray, pale rose, and nascent green. The dense, ancient forests stretch to the horizon, a deep, silent ocean of life. The rolling hills, once just dark silhouettes, now show their soft, undulating contours, shrouded in a thin, ethereal mist that catches the first slivers of golden light. It's a breathtaking panorama, a world utterly unburdened by the wars of your time, existing in a serene, almost innocent state of natural beauty. The stark, skeletal remains of the castle, its broken towers and shattered walls, feel less like ruins and more like venerable elders, silent witnesses to countless such dawns. You take a deep, slow breath, the cool, fresh air filling your lungs, feeling its life-giving purity. A sense of profound, hard-won peace settles over you. A quiet contentment that is deeply personal, utterly disconnected from the grand victories of your past. Your hand rests on your weapon, not with the grip of impending battle, but with the loose, familiar ease of a companion. The weight of your armor, once a burden, now feels like a second skin, a part of the enduring landscape. This isn't a temporary lull in conflict. It's a moment of complete immersion, a warrior finding a new kind of purpose in the simple act of existing within a world that demands nothing but presence. The sun continues its ascent, painting the world in ever brighter hues, and you watch it, a silent, armored sentinel, deeply rooted in the quiet, unfolding majesty of this ancient dawn. It's truly a remarkable thing, isn't it? To realize that even a heart forged in the crucible of endless war can find a profound, quiet peace in the simplest, most universal rhythm of life. The slow, gentle promise of a new day. The ancient stone beneath your heavy boots now feels like home, a profound, unyielding anchor in a world utterly transformed. You trace the cool, rough surface of the castle wall with your gloved hand, not searching for cracks or weaknesses, but feeling its immense, patient strength, a resonance that mirrors your own. The pervasive scent of damp earth and old mortar, once a chilling reminder of decay, now blends seamlessly with the faint, sweet aroma of the struggling plants in your hidden garden. A living, subtle perfume that speaks of enduring life amidst the ruin. The profound silence of the castle, once a suffocating void, has become a rich tapestry of familiar sounds. The distant, rhythmic drip of water, the low sigh of wind through broken arches, the soft scuttle of unseen life, all part of a symphony you now understand. You move through the long, twisting corridors with a quiet confidence, your heavy armor no longer a cumbersome burden, but a natural extension of your adapted form. Each step is deliberate, economical, a testament to countless hours spent navigating this labyrinthine fortress, committing every contour, every shadow, to memory. Your eyes, once focused solely on threat analysis, now scan with a wider, more integrated awareness, recognizing the subtle shifts in light that signal the time of day, the slight changes in airflow that hint at an opening to the outside. This isn't just survival, it's an existence deeply entwined with the very fabric of this ancient place. You reach a high, crumbling vantage point, a spot you've reinforced with salvaged timber, and cast your gaze over the vast, untamed landscape beyond. The Cher River gleams below, a silver ribbon winding through dense, ancient forests that stretch to the horizon. There's no fear in the view, no desperate longing for a forgotten future, only a quiet, resolute acceptance of the present. The castle itself, battered and broken, stands as a testament to endurance, its stone bones holding firm against centuries of wind, rain, and human conflict. You, in your advanced armor, a sentinel from another time, have become a part of that enduring legacy. You take a deep breath, the crisp, clean air filling your lungs, invigorating you. The chill of the stone, the constant effort, the stark reality of your isolation, these are no longer adversaries. They are elements of your existence, challenges met and absorbed, hardening you not just physically, but deep within your core. Your weapon, resting easily at your side, feels less like a tool of destruction and more like a symbol of your unbroken will. A readiness not just for battle, but for whatever demanding, silent task the next moment might bring. You have bent this ancient world to your will, not with force, but with adaptation, with patience, with unwavering resilience. It's truly a remarkable thing, isn't it? To realize that the greatest strength is often found not in conquering, but in enduring, in becoming one with the world around you, allowing its ancient, unyielding resilience to become your own.